Welcome, class. On this video, we're going to be talking about the Battle of New Orleans and Antietam Creek. Okay, so if you have the packet, you can go ahead and start. If you do not have the packet, be sure to get a lined piece of paper and title it Chapter 2.4, The Civil War, the Battle of New Orleans. Okay, so without further ado, let us begin. Now, for the warm-up, what I need you to do is look at this picture and basically for the first part of the warm-up, write down what do you see. Okay, look around, see the objects, make a list of things you see in this picture. The second half asks you basically, who do you think these people are? Do you think they're the North or do you think they're the South? Who do you think won? Before I move on to the notes, I would like for you guys to remember that this is a video. So you can pause it at any time. You can rewatch it at any time. So please don't be rushed. Don't feel that you have to be rushed to do the warm up or the notes when I say or how fast I'm going. Take your time, watch it, rewatch it, things like that, okay? Um, if there's questions you have, rewatch the video and try to listen a little more with intent. Um, if you still don't understand something, when you see me in class, talk to me. Ask me some questions, whatever you may have, and I'll clarify it as best I can. So without further ado, let's start the notes. Now, the Southern troops were basically anticipating an attack from the Mississippi River. But the thing is, they really didn't know where it was going to come from. Okay. The one place they did not expect, really didn't expect, is an attack from the south in the Gulf of Mexico. Because you have to remember, the North was in the North. So if you have a picture of the United States in your head, basically from Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, uh, the North is that area, you know, and places like Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, they're all in the deep South. So for some ship to come or ships to come all the way down South Carolina, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, stuff like that, to make that trip, it was going to be a long trip. So they're like, these guys are not going to do that. So they focused more on the northern part of the Mississippi. Okay. Now, rumor was that the North was going to attack Memphis, Tennessee. All right. And that's in northern Mississippi, western Tennessee area. Okay. So the rebels sent 8 gunboats to stop a Union flotilla. Okay. Now, the thing is, like I said, the South did not anticipate or even think the North would send a bunch of ships to the South. So basically, they left a very important city named New Orleans uh, almost defenseless. There was 3,000 militia soldiers. Remember, militia is basically citizen soldiers. Um, 2 empty ironclads, which is that picture on the top there, and a few steamboats. That was it. Now, again, remember, these militiamen were average people. They were not really trained soldiers. They didn't know how to work one of those ironclad boats, again, that you see on top. Um, so it was basically defenseless. Now, I say basically because the thing is, they did have 2 forts. There was Fort Jackson and Fort St. Philip. Now, the Union sent an admiral. His name is David Farragut. Now, he had 24 gunboats, 19 mortar boats, which is that picture on the bottom, you see that? That's a mortar boat, and 15,000 soldiers. Now, his job was to get New Orleans. So he had all these ships, the gunpowder, and 15,000 troops at his disposal. Now again, the South did not anticipate this. They basically had no idea that something like this was going to happen. And you're going to see what happens for their lack of vision, if you want to use those words. So in New Orleans, the main guy there was the Confederate General Mansfield Lavelle. Now this guy, he realized his 3,000 militia had 2 empty ships and some steamboats was nothing against the Union. He realized that what he had at his disposal was too small. So what he did was he told the New Orleans mayor, John Monroe, that any type of attack on the Yankees, which is the Union, would lead to a lot of loss of life and property damage in New Orleans. So instead, he said, if they get past the 2 forts, basically we're going to retreat because, again, the numbers, we have too few, and they would just run right over us and destroy the city, kill people. So they didn't want that. Okay. So when the Union went to the forts, it took about 4 days for them to take both of them. Okay. Now, New Orleans was taken on April 29th. Okay. Now, the thing is, when some people liberate a town, they're usually greeted as heroes, and they're cheered and things like that. But in this case, because it was the deep South and those people were very much Confederates, they basically cursed and booed the Union soldiers. So if you look to the right, this is a newspaper clipping from the North newspaper, and as you can see, it says War News Victory, New Orleans taken. Great excitement in the city. No, not really. Okay. But the thing is, the Confederates, they had flags all over that city because again, they were so proud of their Confederacy and that they were own country and things like that. And once the Union came through there, they basically took them all down and put up the American flag. Now, the reason they did this was not just basically say, hey, we own this place, blah, blah, blah. No, it was more to be like, hey, we came here, we conquered, we took over this land that you, the South, didn't think we would do, and we did it. Now we have a foothold. And that's the importance of this battle. It basically gave the Union the entire Mississippi River because it basically became a highway for ships to go from Louisiana in the south. So again, picture the United States. From the south of the Gulf of Mexico, where Louisiana is, all the way up to Minnesota. From basically the top of the country to the bottom, and vice versa. The Union could send ships up and down. That is huge. Now, your midpoint question is this. Do you think the Confederacy was too confident in their fort defenses to leave an important city like New Orleans with such little to defend it from invaders? So, again, do you think so? Do you think they were too confident in their defenses? Or do you think they were too confident overall? Write what you think. Yes, no, they were, they weren't about their defenses. justify and explain your answer. Now remember, this is an opinionated question, so you really can't be wrong. The only way you can be wrong is if you don't answer, you copy, or if your answers are just so left field, it's not even right. I mean, like something to the extent like, I think the Confederacy was too confident in their fort defenses because uh, Elmo told me so. No, no, I'm sorry. No, that's just wrong. Okay, so really think about it. Give a good answer. Now, on September 17th, 1862, there was a battle called Antietam Creek, and it was near Sharpsburg, Maryland. The Union general in charge was George C. McClellan, and the Confederate general was Robert E. Lee. Now, this battle is considered one of the deadliest battles in American military history. So, what happened was this: Robert E. Lee had a special order. It was called 191. And if you look to the picture on your right, that is the executive order 191. Okay. Now, it called for his army to be split in two. The thing that makes this whole thing kind of unique is that when Lee's orders were passed out, one particular man basically got the paper and wrapped up 3 cigars with the papers, the orders. Um, this is a famous story. Some say it's just legend, but the thing is, it's a pretty good story, and I kind of believe it to be true, personally. Now, at the old camp in Frederick, 2 Union soldiers, a Private Barton W. Mitchell and Sergeant John M. Boss, they find the papers with the cigars rolled up in it. And they, hey, you know what? We got some cigars. Cool deal. Well, one of the guys starts reading the papers, realizes there's writing on it. And so they're like, wow, this is actually pretty important. These look like orders. So they take it to McClellan, and he basically has his troops um, go out in order to stop Lee's plan. Now you have to remember this: Lee was a very smart man. Okay. Now, basically, he found out that one of the orders were missing. And basically, he tried to get his troops together again. But the other group ran into some Union soldiers. Now, thing is, Lee had an option. He could have easily retreated back to Virginia, forget about this whole attack, his first attempt to invade the North. But the thing is, he changed his mind, and he wanted his army to regroup at an area called Antietam Creek. Now, when they get there, basically, the Confederates are on the west side of the creek and the Unions on the east. And there's about 30 acres of corn separating them. It's fields, but mainly it's corn. Um, by the end of this battle, that cornfield, I should say the fields, are just covered in blood. Okay, so what happens is the Union attacks first, and then basically what happened was the Union attacked and looked like they were about to take the field, and they called for reinforcements. But then the Confederates fought back and looked like they were going to take the field, so they called for reinforcements. But at that point, the Union reinforcements came and they started pushing back. It was a back and forth tug of war type of fight. The thing is, in about 8 hours, 15,000 people are dead.